Okay, so just to remind you, what I'm doing for this project is taking a really large kind of academically inclined project paper on information evaluation techniques for writing students and creating a public-facing summary of those techniques for educators and students who are like writing research papers. This will eventually function as a portfolio of my work that's open access, and I wanted to put together some tutorials and some infographics and data visualizations to help people understand what I'm trying to teach. So here is my new website. It looks a lot different than the website that I had created before. You can actually take a look at it at criticalinfolit.org. The bones are here. What I realized after doing the other kind of version of the website was that sometimes you just have to build something to know what you don't want, and doing it over again is actually easier than dealing with what you've already got. So I just decided to do it over using a different template. So I still used a template from HTML Up, as you can see down here. So if anyone wants to use one of these templates, I found them pretty easy to work with. Oops. And yeah, so I've built out all of the pages that I want. And okay. Working with the template, I feel like templates only get you so far, like 70% of the way there. But they, constrain you as well. So being able to learn how to manipulate the HTML and CSS has been really rewarding, because although it's taken me a lot of time, I feel like I can better match my medium to my message I'm trying to convey. So I'll show you a few examples where that is. So this, I didn't really do anything different with. Oh, I totally did actually. I changed the colors of these, which took me longer than it should have. It's funny because so much of this work is so invisible. And anyway, the overview. Oh yeah, this took me forever too. So this was not something that was in the code that I was given. So I had to figure out how to zoom on hover. The next thing I'm going to try to do is center it and blur out the background. But yeah, that's something that I felt like this graphic needed and was not in the template. And so I had to add that. Another, where is this one? I have been adding tutorials. These ones I did not make because I'm never going to make a better tutorial than Stanford History Education Group. Plus they did all the research on this. Anyway, but I wanted to center these and make them different sizes, so I had to do that. Anything else I had to do? I think that those were the most things. Yeah, I had to figure out how to resize things. So there's quite a bit that I actually have changed here. All right, I want to talk about the data visualization that I was going to do. Is this where it is? I just dumped it down here. It makes no sense here. I just dumped it down here so you could see that I could embed it. So I figured out how to do that. It's actually very interesting on Tableau. You have to have a Tableau public account to get a dynamic not an infographic, data viz. Online, and when you have that, it's pretty easy to dump onto a website, but the question is, do you want that really to be on a public facing thing? I mean, if you're putting it on a website, you probably do, but I think that there are some implications there. Here is just the paid version of Tableau, which we have through the university. It's really kind of cool to work with. I used the LinkedIn Learning to kind of learn how to do it. This is a really good example of why data visualization, I think, and I'm learning how important it can be for communicative purposes. So this is a chart. Here is what the published version looks like of this chart. It looks like this. And so as you can see, it's just a bunch of numbers. So basically these are observed information evaluation behaviors that students, that we observed students doing, right? And so checking sources, 3 students out of, 180 or whatever never checked this, or excuse me, I think that there's like 100, never checked the sources. 17 checked like 1 to 2 sources out of 5, most of them. 29 checked most of the sources, and 35 checked every single one of the things we tested on. They checked all the sources. So that table doesn't say a whole lot. Like, you have to like look through each row and like kind of add this up in your head and be like, well, what does that really mean? But in Tableau, I've got the number of students here, and like every most few known, like, so every source, right? So not as many. And I just think the visualization of that really is super helpful, seeing it visually as opposed to like thinking through what the numbers mean in a table. But it did take me long to realize that data visualization didn't make sense on my public-facing project. I'm glad I learned how to do it, and Tableau is helpful, but like, I think just rhetorically it didn't make sense. I'm trying to create like super usable things here, and nobody wants to have to like wade through a whole bunch of data, especially when this is meant to be like folks that are probably newer to these ideas. I can imagine a time when I add another part to the menu that has like Elise's research as a section, and I could show what I'm learning there. So onto the tutorials really quickly. I have been making a lot of headway in learning how to do it. Like I said, some of these you're going to see are tutorials that come from other sources, and I'm just not going to do them any better. But the way that I talk about authority, and the way that I talk about critical curiosity, and the way that I talk about information framing, these are where I'm making really big scholarly contributions. And so that's where I want to build out tutorials, video tutorials, maybe interactive tutorials at some point, probably not for this class, and then finally like assignments down here as well. So you can watch this horrible tutorial if you'd like. I kind of hope you don't, but it's 3 minutes long anyway. I used Powtoon to create it. I think it's pretty user friendly, but I do find that it's been more time consuming because I've been working with like the free stuff. It's $250 a year if you're and if you're going to use it a lot, I actually think that's really reasonable. I saw a lot of Powtoon things as I was looking around the web at different things, but a lot of things, a lot of the capabilities of it you have to pay for. And so I felt like I was using a lot of time just trying to figure out how to make this somewhat helpful for me with the free version. So free version, you can only do like up to 3 minutes. You have like a really big, you don't have a really big, like variation, like the things you can do, like all the things that are pro, you have to pay for. So it's been constraining because you can only do so much, but, like, again, this is super prototype. What I did was I created a storyboard with like what I was going to say and like what I wanted to happen on the screen. Almost none of what I wanted to happen on the screen because I couldn't make that happen in Powtoon, so I did feel like it was really constraining. But the fact that somebody like me could make a prototype without really having graphic design experience, I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, I have talked a lot. Hopefully this is a good introduction to where I am.